All right, good morning, everyone. So nice to see everybody this morning. If I could get your attention, it's now 8 o'clock and we're going to get started because, as you all know, we have a short window to fit in a lot of amazing stories that you're going to hear today. And then at the end, hopefully we get a lot of donations because these are people who live in your community. These are your neighbors. These are your friends. These are people that you work with that we're here to help out this morning. So it's so nice to see this packed room, especially at 8 o'clock in the morning. Just give a round of applause to you guys for being here. It's going to be a really great morning. Well, again, thank you all for being here. I do want to introduce myself. My name is Kiera Lake, and I am the morning anchor at WLNS. I also do the noon show. So if you did wake up early in the morning, I'm hoping this isn't the first time you're seeing me because we all watched, right? Yep. Maybe not. It's fine. You can still watch at noon. So I just want to say thank you all for being here. I'm actually on the board for Highfields, and I have been for the past few years now, so I get to know firsthand the work that they do in the community. We partner during Christmas to get gifts out to kids. They come in, I make Brian come in first thing in the morning to do interviews, just to talk about the amazing work that they're up to and how they provide families and children with resources to make sure they can better themselves and hopefully go out into this world and figure it all out, because we know it's not always easy at times. So today we're going to hear a lot of stories. We're going to hear things from the people that Highfields actually helps out, the students, the parents, and also we're going to hear from some of the people who actually work here, like Brian. Well, I do want to mention that I always look forward to this breakfast every year just because there's just such great energy. I heard everyone just laughing and having a good time and really coming together because we know this is an amazing cause. And I do want to show my appreciation for everyone who did show up this morning. Well, as we all know, we're going to hear a lot of important stories, and one of those stories does start off with Tyler, our residential director. So I will invite him to the stage, and we can get everything started. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I am Tyler Jones. I am the Director of Residential Services for Highfields. So I just want to start off with saying thank you for everyone coming out. It is great to see everyone here supporting what we're doing in our mission. So thank you for everyone coming out. So a few months ago, this was coming up, and I kind of put out a challenge to some of the residential students to talk about what Highfields has done for you, what it has taught you, and how it has impacted you. When you're in a place where you're not necessarily where you want to be at and doing what you want to do, it's kind of hard to reflect back on what you're learning during that time period. A few students were able to do that, and two of them are with me today. They're a little bit nervous, so give them a little bit of grace. But Blake and Xavier are going to share a short story about what Highfields has done for them and how what they've learned from Highfields. So first up is going to be Blake.
Before I came to Highfields, Before I came to Highfields, I was not doing well in my community. I was doing what I wanted to do, not caring what people thought, including my parents. Being at Highfields has taught me to be better and have better self-control, using self-talk to better my decisions. At Highfields has taught me to think about consequences, to hold myself accountable for my behavior. It has been through my failures and my mistakes that taught me to be resilient, due to the encouragement from support from staff and family. I am confident I will complete the program and use these new skills in a positive member in my community.
All right. I just want to say good morning to everyone. I hope you all are having a good morning. I appreciate y'all for coming out. So, when I got this assignment from Mr. Jones, a lot of people got it. Hold on, I gotta reset real quick. I got you. When he presented this to us, I really took it as like, it's kind of accomplishment to me, because I don't really do things like this. It's kind of making me nervous, but I'm gonna get through it. So, here go my presentation. My name is Xavier Williams Woody. Due to the life I lived before my stay at Highfields, I was called many names. Some good, some bad, but being in the Highfields Phoenix program has taught me a lot. I've learned that no one can tell me who I am. All they can do is have a thought of who I am. And all I can do, I'm sorry. And all I can do is be myself, my true self. I've been taking steps toward bettering myself and strengthening my mind every day since I've been at Highfields. I feel like the steps I'm taking right now wouldn't have been possible without the assistance of Highfields. Highfields has so much to offer to the students, and I'm going to soak up all the information I can while I'm here. I would like to thank everyone at Highfields who puts in the daily effort of helping people like me make a positive change, man. And I would thank you all for listening. Thank you.
All right, Blake, Xavier, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Well, next on, we're going to move to Captain Anthony Stewart for speaking. I'm going to welcome him to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right, for those who don't know, Anthony Stewart. I'm a jail administrator and division commander for the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, so I believe in sounding off. This is a wonderful occasion. This is beautiful today. Strengthening families. I mean, that's really what it's about, and that's what this organization is about. I've had the privilege of being on the board. This is actually my second year. Currently serve on the programs committee as co-chair. And I tell you what, if you want to be involved with something that's going to make your heart feel good, Highfields is where it's at. So I want to thank you all for coming today. You all deserve a round of applause. So I believe this is the time that I do the 45-minute sermon. So I want you guys all kind of sink into your seat. No, actually at this time, for those who are willing, please bow your heads for a moment of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, please continue to bless this very worthy endeavor. Please continue to guide our CEO, Brian Filson, and the board of directors to make wise decisions that have the greatest impact on the family of Highfields, that touches the kids, their parents, and brings them all whole. Please continue to bless us, and please continue to bless everyone and everyone's hearts for those who are willing to provide a monetary donation. It will be greatly appreciated. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much, Captain Stewart. Well, right now, as you can see, the servers are coming and getting out here, so it is time for breakfast. So you can all mix and mingle. I'll be up here in a couple of minutes and get started. We'll hear from Brian next. Enjoy your breakfast, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. And I know most of you have your breakfast and a number of you are still being served, but in the interest of staying on schedule, we're going to continue with the program, but please feel free to continue to eat and finish your breakfast. Thank you for attending Highfields Strengthening Families Breakfast. Most of you know I am Brian Filson, CEO at Highfields. As I enter my 18th year, I consider it a privilege each year to step onto this stage and to look out and to see so many wonderful people all here for the common purpose of hearing about and supporting the great work that we do. I encourage you to take a journey with us this morning as we highlight the mission of Highfields, listen to the story of changed lives, and have the opportunity to partner with us in changing those lives. Highfields had a humbling beginning in 1962 when a small vision became a reality and we began to serve justice-involved youth through our residential program, located in Onondaga. That program continues today as a certified, qualified residential treatment program. We expanded our services in the late 1980s when we added our community services programs that serve children and families in the child welfare and the mental health arenas. That is where the majority of our work is done today. We now serve 11 counties in mid-Michigan through a variety of programs where we seek to help children and families at their earliest point of need, well before they require any out-of-home placement like residential care or foster care. I am in my 38th year as a social worker, and I have faithfully served a hurting and suffering world. And during those many years, I've seen the seemingly never-ending stories of pain, suffering, trauma, and adversity. These individual stories are often accompanied by feelings of great despair. At times, it can be overwhelming for the individuals involved because there seems to be no hope in sight. Yet I stand here to tell you that there is hope. Today, you will hear the stories of Mary Jo and Sarah. They will share how they felt overwhelmed and without hope, yet they were able to overcome, and today they have brighter futures. It should bring us all joy that the stories of Mary Jo and Sarah are not yet finished. I have learned in my 38 years that with the right help, the right interventions, and the right support, that children and families can go on and continue to write their stories. And those new chapters in their lives, they will contain successes, joys, and happiness. I also know that the adversity and trauma of life is not selective in who it chooses to impact. 21% of the population has a diagnosable mental health disorder. 16% of the population has a substance use disorder. 1 in 6 children aged 6 to 17 have a severe emotional disorder. And suicide is the second leading cause of death among adolescents. I could continue to cite those statistics. I could even ask you to raise your hand if you've been impacted by one of those, but I will not. However, I do want to underscore this observation that the adversity and trauma of life is not selective in who it impacts. Yet for all of us, let's be encouraged because there is hope, because our stories are not yet finished. Many of you have heard pieces of my story over the years. My parents were divorced when I was 6 years old. My father was an abusive, mean alcoholic, and I largely grew up in life without a father in the home. My mother was raising 3 kids while living in poverty in a 12-foot by 60-foot mobile home. Yet my mother woke up early every day and went to work. And through her role models, she taught me this: your story is not yet finished. Looking back, I am glad that despite the adversity that I faced early in my life, my story wasn't finished. Almost 1 year ago, I flew my brother across country to enter a drug and alcohol rehabilitation center. During that flight, he was so physically unstable, he could not open a can of pop and pour it into a cup. Despite his ongoing challenges and adversity in life, I am trying to take hope, and it is my daily prayer that his story is not yet finished. It takes hard work, faith, and a lot of people to come alongside and help. That is what the Highfields staff do every day. They come alongside a hurting and suffering world, and they ensure that there will be more chapters written in their lives. I'm thankful that our clients' stories are not yet finished. As supporters and ambassadors for Highfields, you have the opportunity to join with us today to help our clients finish writing their stories. These stories can have successes, positive outcomes, and happiness and joy with your help. Thank you for being with us today. Please join with us as we watch this year's video entitled A Second Chance.
Highfields began in the early 60s. Judge Robert Drake and so many of his counterparts had a vision that children would have a place to go to get the help they needed, and it could be right here in Ingham County.
Highfields is an opportunity for us to provide an investment in these young people.
Me and my little brother in the house, my mama was working 2 shifts a lot. So basically I was just looking out, taking care of my little brother while she was at work. And then my brother stopped going to school, stuff like that. That's when the peer pressure started coming in. And I seen this video on YouTube about how to steal cars. And I started getting into that type of stuff. I just kept getting tied into it. Even when I did get locked up for the couple of days and got back out, I kept doing the same thing. So like, it kind of was like an addiction.
Anytime kids are away from home, it creates anxiety. It's a change, and no kid has signed up to be here willingly. Through their actions, they're here, so we really just try to make this as a therapeutic environment as we can.
I'm actually in this transition group to where it helps me with life skills, start a job interview, how to act in a job interview. I already know how to do a resume. The program is teaching me how to interact with different people.
A lot of kids come here and they don't have the basic life skills. They don't know how to wash their clothes. They don't know how a bank account works. They don't know how to fill out a job application. So that group really focuses on teaching the life skills that kids may not get at home, but they really need to become an adult.
They treat us with respect, they caring, they help us out when we need help. They play with us in activities. They help us with our therapy. When people feel down, they pick us back up, help us get back on our mindset. Prior to me being here, I had got shot, so I would be in the hospital or I would still be in detention.
Without Highfields, a lot of these kids may unfortunately be dead.
I actually sat down and did some time. I actually can think about how to adapt back to the environment. Got to take care of my little brother when my mama at work, because nobody gonna be there for him but me. So I just feel like it's time for me to step up and grow up and go take care of my family.
He's going to change the world, and whether it's in his small town or whether it's just for one person, he's going to be a good kid.
Ultimately, our goal is to come alongside children and families and stabilize them and strengthen them and then empower them.
What I've found just from coming on campus and watching clients that are here get impacted by the programming, it's real.
We currently are working with 10 different schools in the mid-Michigan area.
Ingham Academy is a court-run day treatment program. The students get to work at their own pace. They are able to earn credits as fast or as slow as they need to. We've had kids that came in without any credits that we're able to get done in about 2 years. This program gives them an opportunity to earn an education when they might not have been successful at another program.
When I was doing regular school, I was messing up here and there, and I just wasn't on the right path. And then I got in here, started out somewhat the same way, was on a rough path, and then I kind of got my head to it and was like, this is gonna help me, and it's not gonna help me unless I help myself.
Some staff, they help you with like emotional, and then teachers, they will give you like their undivided attention so you can work out with them one-on-one.
Families Together Building Solutions is a program that focuses on the families themselves. The family is the driver of the program, and they're going to get as much out of it as they put into it. Victoria came to me as a referral from CPS. So Victoria made goals for addressing her legal concerns, for building up this apartment with her and her fiance. Building that budget was part of it. And then also for creating a calm and stable home environment.
I had spent a month in jail right before I started FTBS. All my charges and stuff ended up getting expunged, so she helped me with that process as well. Took an actual genuine interest in us and learning all about my son and all of his uniqueness and asking all the right questions and doing her own research, and she just has everything together. She knows what she's doing. We actually got things accomplished.
We all think we can go out and do these things on our own, and sometimes you need a little bit extra help. You need that extra person to be the support and the advocate for you. Victoria had so much success in this program because She wanted it and she worked really hard for it.
Well, for me personally, it's strengthened my entire family dynamic and relationships, and just extra support. A group of people invested in my well-being and my success. So I'm just completely getting on a better track.
And that's really what our community services programs do, is help keep every child in their home receiving the help that they need so that they can be very productive in life.
I actually was kind of happy because I could get a second chance in life, being able to reduce and come back to the community after I finished this program.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome Mary Jo Cox and Sarah West to the stage. Mary Jo was involved in our Highfields home-based therapy program. She sought help for her now 6-year-old son who experienced difficulties as a child. Please help me welcome Mary Jo.
I want to thank Highfield Board and the executive staff and all the Highfields family for letting me share my story today. So I'm a little nervous, but I always had aspirations of being a parent, but after a decade of failed IVF, I gave up until one day an opportunity to adopt a baby was presented to me. I was able to chat briefly with the bio mom, but more importantly, I was able to talk to the midwife who had previously been in the care of her 2 children that the bio mother had previously. She did not have custody of those 2 children. I was also told that the bio mother never sought prenatal care, and she was a meth user. At the time, all I heard was there was a baby available. Knowing about substance abuse and dealing with the after effects are 2 different things. My son, at 2 years old, started displaying symptoms, and by the time he was 3, he was kicked out of his first daycare. Some of the symptoms that he had were he was very impulsive, he was defiant, he wouldn't listen, he had trouble following the rules, he was very aggressive towards others, he always had to be first, he was very argumentative, he had to have the last word, he would express rage, walking by and knocking things over. I went through countless lamps. He would slam doors, and we ended up with a lot of holes in the wall. I realized that I needed help and didn't really know where to turn. Fortunately, my sister was a school teacher here in Michigan, and she introduced me to ISD. Through ISD, I was able to learn about Lifeways, and then fortunately, Lifeways helped me find my way to Highfields. At Highfields, we were teamed up with a home-based therapist named Miss Priscilla Fleming, and we were, I know her by Miss Priscilla, affectionately. She worked with Tanner quite a bit. She was fearless. She was a big advocate for him, held my hand every step of the way. One of the most important things that she helped us do was get to the University of Western Michigan, to the Resiliency Center where my son was tested. And that's where he received an official diagnosis of ADHD, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder, defiance disorder, and in utero exposure. Shortly after Miss Priscilla joined us, he did get kicked out of his second daycare. And that's when she started working with me. She would work with my son one-on-one, but she also started working with me one-on-one. She taught me PMTO, which is parent management training, and that really kind of opened my eyes to being a better parent, gave me skills that I didn't know I needed, which had been proven to be invaluable. My son has improved, and I have improved, and she really became a cheerleader for me. During this time, I decided to go back to school, and currently a student at Jackson College. I will graduate this semester with a 4.0, and I'm transferring to the University of Michigan. Miss Priscilla also shared with me the scholarship that was offered through Highfields, the Aldinger Scholarship, which I am also a recipient of. So I thank Highfields for that as well. My son now is in kindergarten, or I'm sorry, he's now in first grade. And although he still struggles, when he was in kindergarten, Miss Priscilla also helped us get my son an IEP. So that's really helped him through his academic journey. In first grade now, he is top in math and top in reading in his class. So he still struggles with his behavioral issues. He is very personable, but he has a hard time keeping friends. He can make friends, but he has a hard time keeping them. Overall, though, my son is now a very happy child. We have no longer chaos in our household. And I stand here today as a very proud parent and very thankful for everything that Highfields has done for me and my family. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mary Jo. This time I'd like to ask Sarah. Sarah and her family were involved in Highfields Family Together's Building Solutions program. They went on an emotional journey to bring their family back together again. Please help me welcome Sarah to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here today to tell you how Highfields has changed our lives. They helped us overcome the challenges of an aggressive and troubled teenager and make our house a safe environment for our children. Around early 2020, we started having problems with our oldest daughter, who was about 13 at the time. She was starting having uncontrollable fits of anger and would usually result in the police intervention. Anaya would become so enraged that she would destroy property. She would refuse to do anything that we asked, and she would also often use aggressive behaviors to intimidate us. We noticed that these episodes would usually occur when we would have to address things like poor grades in school, sneaking out of the home, vaping, not following home rules. We tried several different approaches to help prevent these episodes: counseling, therapy, parenting classes, but nothing worked. Anaya would throw furniture around the house. She would punch holes in the walls. She would continue to intimidate us. So that's when we filed a petition for incorrigibility with the Livingston County Court, and Anaya was placed under the court supervision. She was placed in a detention facility for about 3 months and then transferred to a residential facility. Anaya returned home roughly about 6 months into the program. To help reunify us with her return home, as we were in fear of living the same lifestyle, they referred us to the Family Reunification Program with Highfields. Our team, Janelle, Lillian, and Teresa, they made an absolute difference in our life. Teresa worked closely with myself and my husband on parenting skills and financial services, and Janelle and Lillian worked with Anaya on many different therapeutic processes. Teresa focused on educating us about children who suffered from trauma. She introduced us to great resources. We learned many different parenting techniques that help calm stressful situations and reduce the anger outbursts. Janelle and Lillian both worked with Anaya to help build coping skills when she's feeling certain emotions. They worked with her on mindfulness, helped her to identify emotions, and educated her on the brain functions. They also worked on calming techniques to help Anaya when she's feeling anxious or angry. In addition to these wonderful skills Highfield has taught us, they've also provided financial services for us and our family. Our family was facing a financial hardship. We were hit with thousands of dollars of court costs, attorney fees for Anaya, thousands of dollars of Anaya's residential placement, and thousands of dollars to repair the home. Our Highfields team was able to alleviate the overwhelming financial burden by providing us with utility payment assistance, gift cards for food, They even bought us a deep freezer to help us reduce the amount of money we're spending on meats. Our team has found us resources for food pantries and even a pet pantry, school supply donations. I mean, we're a family of 8 with 6 children. It has now been 6 months since Anaya returned home. And while we're still working on the behaviors, we have come a long way from where we were. Highfields has helped provide us with the tools we needed to have a healthy, happy family. Today, Anaya is doing well at school. She's been able to control her anger and express her emotions in a healthy way. She's been relying on her coping skills when she is feeling upset or angry. As parents, we learned new skills to help her to be better listeners, provide emotional support to Anaya. We learned to maintain control of the situation and avoid violent outbursts. With the support and guidance of our Highfields team, our family is in a much better place emotionally, mentally, and financially. We cannot thank Highfields enough for all the love and support they have provided to our family and the difference they have made. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Please help me thank Mary Jo and Sarah one more time. At this time, I'd like to invite Robert Easterly, our Highfields Board Chair. Robert is with Easterly Law and has been on our board for a number of years, and he's got some exciting news to share.
Good morning. A lot of beautiful people in here, smiling faces. My name is Robert Easterly, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving as the chair of the board of directors for Highfields this year. I was introduced to Highfields prior to attending law school about 13 years ago while working in juvenile justice. Because of my role at the time, I knew about their involvement with the Ingham Academy, but I was unaware of the scope of the organization's service in our community until I attended a Strengthening Families breakfast. I began to look and listen more for the Highfields name, and I took note when I heard personal anecdotes shared in my network. But even with that knowledge, I had no idea of the impact that the programs, services, and most importantly, the people have had on children and families in our state. I've always been passionate about giving back and providing service. I was taught that we all need help. I've been marvelously helped, and I have a responsibility to help others. So the idea of joining the board of Highfields was easy. But after I joined the board about 6 years ago, I was blown away by 3 things that I've observed in this organization. First is Highfields' unwavering commitment to serving critical needs in our community. I've seen neither ego, nor politics, nor any other ulterior motive ever get in the way of that mission. And I believe that that credit should go to our leadership, and particularly our CEO, Brian Filson. Second is the courage and compassion of those who do the work. It's embodied in the Highfields staff, but also in the parents and the youth and the families that the services are provided to. You've heard from those folks today. Blake, Mary Jo, Sarah, and Xavier were prime examples of courage and compassion. Their love for their families would not allow them to give up even when they were facing some of their toughest challenges. And finally, it's the legacy of people who have supported Highfields through their time and resources. I'm humbled and honored to be in the room with some of those people today, including board members past and present, and donors. Every event that I've ever been to, I've met folks who have been with Highfields long before myself, and even before Brian Filson. And the legacy of those folks staying connected and continuing their support of Highfields is tremendous. Interacting with Highfields supporters reminds me of something I was taught at a young age and remains a compass in all that I do. It is to do justice, to love people, with kindness and mercy, and to walk humbly. This is what I see and admire of those I come behind and serve next to. And in their honor, I'll echo what I've heard from many of them, that in doing so, I've truly received more than I've given. Today, you've heard the Highfields story. You've met some of the amazing people. So it is my privilege to ask you to make a financial investment to support our day-to-day operations. Before I do, I have something very exciting that I would like to announce. The DART Foundation has generously pledged to match any contributions from this event up to $30,000 of your contribution. Now, I had to make sure that I clarified that this morning. That's up to $30,000 of your contribution, and your contribution, and even yours too, sir. With the DART Foundation's support, your gifts will go even further today. And so now what I'd like to do is to ask table hosts to pass out the pledge cards. If you have been inspired by what you have seen today and would like to support the operating needs of Highfields, I invite you to join me and my wife, because she signs the permission slips, as a member of our Strengthening Family Society. Starting at the top of the card, the Strengthening Family Society pledge level names are meant to give you a sense of what your contribution can do. The first giving level is the gift of stability. It's a pledge of $1,000 each year for 5 years, which is only about $83 a month. The second giving level is the gift of strength. It's a pledge of $5,000 a year for 5 years. And the final level is the gift of empowerment, and it's a pledge of $10,000 per year for 5 years. If you are joining me in pledging support for the Highfields mission, thank you on behalf of the children and families that we serve. If you prefer to give at a different level, on the next line, please tell us what it is that you would like to do, how much and for how long. Perhaps you would like to make a gift of stock or something else. You can also check the box that says, please contact me. I have other thoughts to share. Whatever you give today, including the gift of your time, we sincerely appreciate your support. I'll give you a few minutes now to finish filling out pledge cards. And when you are finished, please pass the envelopes back to your table hosts. If anyone here needs to know how to spell million, you can ask the person next to you. On behalf of the board of Highfields, I would like to personally thank you all for being here this morning, and I am now going to turn this back over to Ms. Kiera Lake to wrap up. Thank you.
Hello again, everyone. I know everyone's filling out their pledge forms, but before we go, I did want to thank a couple of people before, again, we go to work and have to do our responsibilities. But I do want to say thank you and hold your applause till the end to the DART Foundation, who are a sponsor, the Strengthening Families Giving Society members, and the Robert L. Drake Society members, current and former board members, our table hosts that are here with us this morning, elected officials, and all our friends and guests that came out to support. I know you guys heard all these stories this morning, and this is why we come together. This is why we wake up so much earlier than what we're used to make sure we're helping out all these families. And it's because of you guys that Highfields will be able to continue the work that they do each and every year until we have to come back next October and do this all over again. But I know you guys do it with a smile because we've had a great time this morning. I know I appreciate Brian and the Highfields team for always inviting me because this is such an amazing event, and I MC a lot of events, but this is for sure one of my favorites. So before we let you all go, I do want to remind you to fill out those pledge cards, and table hosts, if you can collect those before everyone goes, that'll be amazing. I know you all have to get to work or work from home. That's nice. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, and thank you all for coming out.